Welcome back, the Oklahoma City Streetcar. Wow. Well, good morning. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going our way. Well, with those words borrowed from Rogers and Hammerstein, we celebrate a historic day for MAPS and a milestone event for MAPS 3. Thank you all for coming. There was something heartwarming about riding with the mayor and his children as we came down, stopped at the Oklahoma City Memorial, Ron, as we watched people all along the route snapping pictures as we came. There was an air of excitement that's really hard to duplicate in the history of our city, and we appreciate every one of you for being here to share it with us. My name is Tom McDaniel. I'm chairman of the MAPS 3 Citizens Advisory Board, and I begin today by saying thank you to our entertainers, the honor choir from John Rex Elementary School, led by their choir director, Ashley Ray. How about an appreciation for them? And of course, a favorite group for all of us, the Boulevard Brass. Thanks for being here. Love to have you. Just a couple of quick facts about the Oklahoma City Streetcar. You already know that we have two options, the 2-mile Bricktown Loop and the 4.8 Downtown Loop. Passengers along those routes may get on at any of 22 platforms that are located throughout the system. It serves the downtown business district, Automobile Alley, Midtown, and Bricktown. The fare to ride is free until January the 5th. Now, the fact that it just lasts till January the 5th is because that's my wife's birthday. Well, let's begin by saying thank you to a fair number of people who have joined us today, who are so responsible for this day that we all celebrate. And should we start with the father of MAPS? No one is more responsible for this day than the guy who got it started for us, our former mayor. Would you welcome Ron Norick? Ron? We're also thankful for the wise guidance and the support and the decision-making of those who are members of the Oklahoma City Council. From Ward 1, James Greiner. From Ward 2, Ed Shadid. From Ward 3, Larry McAtee. From Ward 4, Todd Stone. From Ward 5, David Greenwell. From Ward 6, a lady from whom you'll hear more later, Meg Salyer. And our newest member of the council, from Ward 7, Nikki Nice, from whom you'll also hear more from her, and from Ward 8, Mark Stonecipher. Another round of applause for all of them. Somehow in May of 2010, when the mayor appointed a Citizens Advisory Board, I'm not sure how many of us thought that it would be a decade in the doing, but here we are 8.5 years in, and I want to introduce my colleagues who serve on the Citizens Advisory Board for MAPS 3. The vice chair this year is my friend Michael Adams. He is here, I know. Susan Hooper, Mike Dover, Kimberly Lowe, Zane Boatwright, Dee Morales, Celia Robinson Woods, and Bob Nayland. Would you give them a round of applause? And as you may know from our structure, 2 members of that board serve on the Streetcar Subcommittee. Nathaniel Harding from the Citizens Advisory Board chairs that subcommittee. The vice chair is Zane Boatwright. Other members that are with us today: Stan Hupfeld, Debbie Blackburn, Jeff Besdick, A.J. Winters III, Jane Jenkins, Steve Mason, Jill Adler. I can't tell you the number of hours and the time and the effort that they put into making this project real. Would you recognize them with your applause? We came to this day because of some long-range planning by a group of very dedicated citizens as well. They're from the Central Oklahoma Transportation and Parking Authority, known as COTPA. Their long-range planning made it possible for us to be here this day. Their chairman, Chris Kauffman, is with us, and he will speak later, but I also want to recognize the members of that authority. Barney Sempner, sitting in front, Kay Bickham, James Cooper, our new city manager, Craig Freeman, David Greenwell, Steve Hill, Laura Johnson, our current mayor, David Holt, and a fellow that we all recognize as one of the great city managers in America and one of the greatest in our history, Jim Couch. And I lift him up for special recognition today because, as you know, after 18 years, Jim is retiring at the end of this month. And he has been a guiding force, not only in our city, but in the MAPS projects, and there would never be enough appreciation we could show to him, but would you again recognize Jim Couch? And just to let him know that we're going to love him too, how about a round of applause for Craig Freeman, our new city manager? I want to say a special word of thanks to the MAP staff that they have put in place. The project leader for MAPS 3 is David Todd, and he has a great staff of people who have done so much to put us in the position that we are on all the MAPS projects. And on this particular one, Embark's Jason Fairbrush has also been a leader in this effort. I just want to say thank you to David and Jason as well. Would you recognize them? All of us who are volunteers really appreciate in a great way the professionals that have been hired to assist us, our consultants in this from ADG, that effort led by Mike Mize. Mike, if you and the ADG staff would give us a wave, we'd like to recognize you as well. Also want to say a word of thank you to a great American company from Brookville, Pennsylvania. Our consultants who built these streetcars are to be congratulated. You're going to love them. We've already had a chance to see them and know that they are working, and they've done a great job. We've also had great professional help from our consultants from Jacobs Engineering and their subcontractors, and the team of hardworking professionals with Herzog, Stacy, Whitbeck. All of those people have worked together collaboratively to make this day happen. Would you recognize them as well? From the Federal Transit Authority and ODOT, there are members of their staff who have worked diligently, and I might say worked hard the last week, particularly getting us ready for this day, and we appreciate all of them. It's taken the collaborative effort of many, including state legislators, former city council members, people who have been involved from the community, and volunteers far and wide to make this day happen. I also want to just say this as a particular shout out to the business owners in downtown Oklahoma City. By every single measure, their business has been impacted as they have patiently waited for this day to come. We're hoping that they will see that it's worth it in the days ahead. And I just want to say a personal thank you on behalf of the Citizens Advisory Board and all of us involved in MAPS 3 for your patience, your understanding, and your cooperation in making this happen for our city. Thank you to all the business owners. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting a little chilly up here. And now perhaps the greatest honor for me today is to introduce the 36th mayor of Oklahoma City. Would you welcome David Holt?
Well, good morning. What a historic day in Oklahoma City. This is awesome. When I got here at 8 this morning, we had some picture taking we needed to do, and this was all set up. I kind of thought to myself, I hope we didn't put out too many chairs. This is overwhelming. Your optimism, excitement, and anticipation makes me feel like this is the warmest place in the world right now. He did a great job. Tom did a great job talking about all the people that made this happen from the point of election on, the implementation of this project. But there's more history behind that, and I want to just briefly, because it is actually really cold, I'm aware. I do briefly want to touch on that. And it began 25 years ago, and some of you may not know this. I'm just going to take a pregnant pause here for a second. It could be a while. I'll just plunge through. 25 years ago today, the voters of Oklahoma City passed MAPS. And this guy on the first row 25 years ago right now was a nervous wreck. I can imagine. I've been there. And one thing he was anticipating, because it was in the list of projects, was a streetcar, a downtown streetcar. And that night, he never imagined, as he was celebrating the passage of MAPS and the turnaround of our city, that it would take him 25 years to sit here and open this streetcar. This is, in fact, the only MAPS project that the voters of Oklahoma City have voted for twice. But we had to plunge through some adversity. Tom didn't mention it. I do want to recognize someone who is also here, Congresswoman-elect Kendra Horn. And if you knew the history of MAPS, and this project in particular, you would feel it's especially meaningful to have our congressperson here at its opening. And that's the most negative thing I'll say today. But thank you, Kendra. So it didn't happen. We got some rubber-tired trolleys. They were lovely, but we didn't get the streetcar that we wanted. And around 2005, 2006, COTPA, led by Chairperson Chris Kauffman, at the time Transit Director Rick Kane, and their team worked with ACOG, led at the time by Zach Taylor, and came up with a fixed guideway study that called for multiple modes of transit, one of which was this streetcar. The mayor, my predecessor, Mick Cornett, began to talk about transit a lot more than people had to that point. And he started to work it into his states of the city, and he talked more and more about it, and he kind of started to set the stage that it was time for us to make some major investments. Well, along came in 2007 the MAPS 3 conversation. He solicited ideas from the public, and I was the person who counted and read and counted all of those ideas. And overwhelmingly, transit was the #1 pick. But of course, that means a lot of things to a lot of people. And so we kind of had to decide what element, most likely of the fixed guideway study, our transit plan, would we include in MAPS 3. And a group of citizens came together, led by Jeff Bezdek. I can't imagine anybody here doesn't know Jeff Bezdek. Where's Jeff? Yeah, right in front. Very good. Yeah. And Jeff gathered a group of people, and they decided that of all the elements that made the most sense, kind of budget-wise, and would make an impact, would make a statement to the people of Oklahoma City, that it should be the streetcar. That's the transit element that should be in MAPS 3. And so for that period, 2007, 2008, 2009, that's what he and his group of advocates talked about. And I got a list of names from him, and I'm just going to read them real fast, because I think they're people that need to hear their name today. Along with Jeff, Mark Gibbs, Jill Adler, Josiah Daniel, Brian Brown, Kuhn Vega, James Ellison, Austin Hacker, Bob Kemper, Marion Hutchison, Stephen Newland, Debbie Blackburn, Marva Ellard, Senator Dave Herbert, and Walter Jacks. That's a group of people who advocated for this streetcar to be included in MAPS 3. And then, of course, the vote came in late 2009, and it passed. And that's where, I don't have time to mention them all, but 75,000 people came out and voted and made a decision that this was what they wanted. And we have been able to deliver it through all of the things that Tom described. And so I add my gratitude to all of those people, hundreds of people, who made it possible over the last 10 years for this day to occur. Today is a reminder that dreams can come true through persistence and hard work, and this is a dream 25 years in the making, and it makes a huge difference to our economic development opportunities, our visitor opportunities, and it's a fundamental aspect of a comprehensive transit system. But more than that, it's an inspiration as we think ahead about the future. As you know, we're engaged in a MAPS 4 conversation now, and this is a reminder that the things you dream of can happen. The dreams we make, the plans we make, the commitments we make through processes like MAPS have never been about building the city we expect to have today. It's about building the city we hope to have tomorrow. And for a lot of people who've been around a while, tomorrow has finally arrived. Congratulations, Oklahoma City. Thank you.
Nobody needs more help than me. As I watch all of you shivering, I just want to offer this helpful advice. If you had my hairdo, you'd really be cold. But my wife has given me the solution. Well, our next speaker is someone you all know, and I dare say someone you all love. She has devoted a decade or more to leadership in our city. She has announced that she's not running for re-election for the city council. Would you give Meg Salyer a rousing welcome today?
Boy, I need a lot of help with this too, and I'm not sure I can do this without a giant tear in my eye. I'm so thankful for you all to be here. I am one of those old people that has been here a long time. I remember that vote 25 years ago so well, and I think sort of stalking Mayor Nork at some point, telling him if he needed somebody to hold a shovel to help dig a canal down where the river is today, I'd be happy to help him. And so to be here in front of you all is an amazing opportunity. David, thank you for recognizing all of those names of folks that were involved from the beginning. I don't have them all in front of me as well, but one of the things I just wanted to say about today and the years that preceded it is the number of friendships that have been built through this process. I want to say 3 or 4 names, but Jeff Bezdek has already been mentioned. Mark Gibbs is somebody that was a volunteer enthusiast for transit, and Mark traveled all over the world on his own dollar to learn about transit, to see what kinds of cars were out there, what other systems had done. He contributed so much to this. I'm looking at Jill Adler and Debbie Blackburn and Jane Jenk. There are just so many people here. But the last I want to mention is Marion Hutchinson, and he remains in my ear every single day, giving advice and suggestions and thoughts, and we just wouldn't be here without the volunteer help, and I really appreciate it. So Tom, I want to thank you so very much for this. We know that all of this growth would not be possible without a clear vision and strong leadership from our past mayors and city leaders. It also takes an amazing amount of confidence and trust of our residents. So thank you all that are here today for offering that confidence and trust in us. And I just want to thank again everyone that came together to transform our city through maps. We are the envy of cities across the country, and you hear it all the time, but people from all over this nation come to visit Oklahoma City to try to figure out how we've done this. And they may technically learn how we've done it, but they cannot replicate the magic that's Oklahoma City, no matter how hard they try. And I beseech you for the future to keep that secret sauce applied. Make sure we keep it going, because the momentum is so important for us. So I know it's near to my heart. I think it is to all of yours, but I certainly believe that downtown is the heart of Oklahoma City. When the heart's healthy and thriving as it is today, the rest of the city benefits economically with better jobs and improved neighborhoods. Mayor Holt referred to the Oklahoma City Chamber study, and I have some more encouraging statistics to share from you. Private property values within the 3-block impact zone have grown by 115% since the streetcar route was proposed in 2011. On a square foot basis, values are up 80% over that same time period. We have seen downtown housing skyrocket in the 3-block streetcar impact zone since 2011, with 21 new residential development projects providing 1,860 new housing units. I'm proud myself to be a downtown resident. My commute from here is across the street. It's really, really nice. We have also seen a net increase of more than 1.5 million square feet of downtown office space and a 16% increase in the number of jobs in the area. New hotels seem to be everywhere, and they are. 7 new hotels with 833 rooms have been constructed within the investment area in the past 7 years. When I first came to Oklahoma City, we had 1.5 hotels. We had one, and the Skirvin was kind of on its last legs. Today, that Skirvin right behind us is an absolute gem, and we've got hotels of every option for travelers to downtown. You can log on to Oklahoma City's Chamber website and read more about the streetcar's impact on our economy so far. Now to go back for a little bit of streetcar history. Oklahoma City's streetcar story began in 1903 when Anton Klassen, a very familiar name to Bob Blackburn and all of those of us who learned from him, and John Chartel, another familiar name, opened the Oklahoma City Railways to spur development. And from 1903 until the 1930s, the system grew with every new neighborhood. If you think about that, our first streetcar system was up and running 4 years before Oklahoma became a state. We have several special guests today, and I am so pleased about this. I'm going to introduce the first one now. Eleanor Todd, familiar name to us. Fuller, will you please stand up? Please give her a big rounding result of applause, if you would. Mrs. Todd Fuller, or to MAPS 3 Program Manager David Todd, Mom, was a teenager living in Moore in the 1940s. She would take the streetcars into downtown Oklahoma City for shopping and events. Eleanor and her friends were part of the OKC Kilty Band, and they'd take the streetcar into the city for drill practice at Northwest 10th and Robinson. Her fond streetcar memories include looking through the streetcar window at the beautiful Christmas lights, which we're sharing now, along Southwest 25th Street in Capitol Hill and along Main Street downtown, particularly in the John A. Brown department store. Eleanor and her family didn't have a car at the time, And the streetcar made it possible to shop for school clothes, take tap dance lessons, and do other things that help them get the most out of life in Oklahoma City. Eleanor and all of us look forward to making new memories on the Oklahoma City streetcar. Thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you all for participating.
Well, Eleanor, let me say a word of thanks, because nobody is more important to this math project than your son, David, who leads our effort every day, and we really appreciate all he has done and all you've done to provide it for us. Thank you. And thank you to Meg Salyer. She's been a great public servant. And just to make our newest council person feel right at home, I decided, although I didn't need it, I decided to go ahead and put on my cap. And Meg said, you know, that times change, new people come, and we're so excited to have this newest member of the City Council, Nikki Nice. Would you welcome her?
Thank you so much, Mr. McDaniel. I am so happy to be here. And good morning, Oklahoma City. Shortly after I was elected, I was afforded the opportunity to tour the streetcar facility where streetcar number 7, affectionately named Pink Panther, rolled right on into the city. And with that, I realized not only will we be connected locally, but the streetcar facility and the companies that are with it brought in so much more, connecting us nationally as well as internationally, with our general manager from Jamaica, with our safety manager from Puerto Rico, with our operations manager from Dallas, with our maintenance manager from Mexico, and with our other maintenance and maintenance workers who are also from Mexico. So just that in itself helps to connect not only us together, but this streetcar nationally as well as internationally. I couldn't be more proud to be a part of today. Stimulating economic development is at the heart of MAPS. The OKC Streetcar will impact the future of Oklahoma City in several ways. It sets the stage for future regional transit discussions throughout all central Oklahoma. It improves the overall walkability of downtown and encourages linkages to different districts. And if the streetcar route is expanded, it will enhance development opportunities in other parts of downtown and throughout the city. Some of the most visited, vibrant, and historic parts of Oklahoma City are in Ward 7, Bricktown, and Deep Deuce. And I am so proud to serve these areas of our city. I look forward to riding the streetcar, and it was so exciting to ride it on in, and all the waves and cheers as we came on in. And we look forward to transforming while growing our businesses and our economy along the route. Will Thomas Minter please stand? Just wave your hand, that's fine. Well, thank you for standing. The streetcars represented independence to 14-year-old Thomas Minter when he lived near Northwest 4th and Classen in the 1940s. He and his friends could ride the streetcar north to weekend dances at Belle Isle or south to see professional wrestlers like Gorgeous George and Farmer Jones at the Coliseum in what we call Stockyard Cities today. Sometimes Thomas and his friends rode the streetcars to movie theaters in what was considered to be suburban Oklahoma City, but we now know it as 23rd Street. Mr. Minter remembers sometimes riding in the dark when a prankster would swing a weighted rope around the overhead electric cable, knocking the connection to the streetcar loose. This always sent the motorman muttering under his breath to reconnect the wire with a purpose-built pole. So just imagine those times. Memories like those are what makes Thomas so excited to see the streetcar return to Oklahoma City. Mr. Minter said, "I'm glad the streetcars were a part of my life, and I can't wait to ride one." Well, you get your chance today, Mr. Minter. Thank you for celebrating this historic day with us. Thank you.
Well, if maps is about anything, it's about connecting one generation to the next. And Mr. Mentor, we really appreciate you making the effort to be here today, and we hope you enjoy this first ride you've had in a good number of years. Well, thank you, Nikki. Great to have you. Now, I mentioned earlier the role of Chris Kauffman in this whole process, and he's here to represent COTPA, and we want you to welcome him to the podium now. Chris Kauffman.
Well, they asked me to say something about my recollection of the streetcar, so I think Mr. Minter and I probably passed each other on Classen because my mother and I lived with my grandmother at 30th and Classen when my dad was overseas during the war, and we'd ride the streetcar down to 18th and Classen on Saturday and go to the movie, so I probably passed you one time. Well, Tom did thank all the merchants, all the residents of downtown Oklahoma City, everybody that visits, the Thunder fans, for all the construction. And I just want to say it's done, and I hope you all have survived it, because what we've learned in our 50 years of transit service is that where public transportation goes, community grows. Another interesting fact that I didn't know until we got into this is that we're now launching the largest streetcar project on opening day in modern times in the United States. With this opening, we have more streetcars and more off-wire track than any other U.S. system when it was launched. We've thanked a lot of people, but I do want to thank our sponsors for this event today: Herzog Transit Services, Brookville Equipment, Herzog Stacy Whitbeck, Downtown Oklahoma City, and the Arts Council, who arranged for our entertainment. So we want to give them a big thanks. And the Curbside Chronicle, which we all see on corners, has done a special transit issue on the history of transit. So I would ask everybody to pick one of these up on their way out, because it's got a lot of history. Well, today is the beginning of a new era for public transportation in Oklahoma City. With you by our side, we will continue to move forward. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chris. There's another real integral piece of this that we wouldn't be here today without. I want to welcome Mike Patterson, the Secretary of Transportation for the state of Oklahoma, for the important role they've played. Mike, welcome to the podium.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate this opportunity. I don't know if you guys noticed, but anytime you take a girl to a date, you want to make sure that you match her. So I wore my pink tie today to get on this pink streetcar. We at the state of Oklahoma are so proud of the city of Oklahoma City and what you have done here with all the MAPS projects, but particularly your transportation piece. When you look at cities around the country and around our state, you're always looking for cities that invest in themselves, and that's exactly what the city of Oklahoma City has done and continues to do. The role of the state of Oklahoma in the streetcar was not funding it. You did that. Was not building it. You did that. We simply had a role to make sure that all the boxes were checked, that all the self-assessment was done by the city, and I can tell you this is a safe streetcar. I got to be one of the first ones to ride it. I'm looking for my annual pass. I will be on this streetcar all the time. So congratulations to Jason and the entire team of putting together a great program to get this streetcar up and running. This is just another measure of cooperation between the Department of Transportation and the city of Oklahoma City. You don't have to look, but just around that building where we relocated I-40 and now are building a boulevard that's going to be more walkable, more usable for all modes of transportation. We have the Heartland Flyer that this streetcar will have a stop at, that runs down to Texas every day, bringing all that Texas money up here, Mayor, so that they can spend it up here, and we'll get them on a streetcar and bring them to other parts of downtown. But we will continue to have cooperation and collaboration in transportation. Because the one thing the city of Oklahoma City does understand, among all the other things they understand, but one thing that they do understand about transportation, it's about moving people and commerce. It's not how you do it. You have to provide various modes to get that done. And with this streetcar, you see just another example of the city moving forward. I only hope, because my office is out by the Capitol, and I've already been lobbying a little bit this morning that the next extension be up to the state capitol so I can come down to Bricktown to eat lunch. If I could have Sue Murphy, please stand. Thank you, Sue. We have one more streetcar story to tell. Sue Murphy may not have had running water when she grew up in the 1940s northwest of Sayre in the farming community of New Liberty. Now, Sue, I've been all over this state. I've never been to New Liberty. Okay, I'm coming. I'm coming. But she had a strong connection to her extended family, like her Aunt Myrtie and Uncle Willie, who happened to be a streetcar driver in Oklahoma City. As a 5-year-old on a visit to the big city, Sue was rewarded for her good behavior by going to work with Uncle Willie. She was in awe of the hustle and bustle of so many people, cars, and downtown skyscrapers. Uncle Willie knew how to make the experience special for her niece. He let her ring the streetcar bell at the end of the day. In Sue's words, "Lordy, I thought my heart would explode when I heard the streetcar was returning. It made me smile from ear to ear, and I felt like I was 5 years old again." Thank you, Sue.
Well, Sue, thanks. We appreciate you coming today. Lordy, it's good to have you. And Mike, thank you. ODOT and the state have been great partners of the city of Oklahoma City, and we appreciate all you do. We'll look forward to seeing you when we open the new boulevard. All right, then. You will find a calendar for our opening weekend by picking up a free copy today of the Curbside Chronicle. After we cut the ribbon today, I'd like to invite the following groups to take the first official streetcar ride. Our choir from John Rex and their instructors. Student body leaders representing each of the Oklahoma City Public Schools. Former mayors, city council, MAPS 3 Streetcar Subcommittee, the MAPS 3 Citizens Advisory Board, the COTPA Board, city managers and assistant city managers. And now I'd like to invite all of our speakers to join me, and there are scissors at your chair to cut the ribbon as Mayor Holt leads us in the ribbon cutting of the Oklahoma City Streetcar.
Now, to make history, please join us in a countdown to cut the ribbon in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What a day.
How exciting. Oh my gosh.
What a day.
What a day.
Yeah, what a day.
Wowie. What a day. Christy, fantastic
Christy,
job.
great job.
I just can't believe
Ladies
it.
and gentlemen, all streetcar platforms are now open. The line for the Business District platform will form along Park Avenue.